What's going on, guys? Stevie from the Minimasters here, and today I'm going to show you how to prep your truck for the winter to keep it from rusting. So whether you're a long-time owner of one of these old trucks or a recent owner, you probably realize they have problems with rust, as do most old trucks regardless of brand. And mine is no different. And so winter's coming around. There's parts of the country that already have snow, and so it's about time you guys start your prep for the winter. So I'm starting mine, and to do this I have fluid film, which is a non-toxic lanolin base, so it's a wool-based oil, rust and corrosion protectant. Fluid film's been in the business for a really long time. So I bought a 6-pack of them, and it came with this cool extended spray nozzle, some tissues, and then I have some glasses here. You can also wear a mask and stuff to keep the oil out of your face. So we're gonna get started by spraying some key areas on this truck to keep the rust at bay this winter. So we're gonna start with the front of the truck and work our way back. That way we keep this as methodical as possible. I have my trusty Milwaukee light there shining up our first key area, which is your radiator support. So down there you'll see that bolt and everything, and as you can see there's already some nice patina surface rust. So we're gonna spray that one first. So we're getting in there, do a nice layer of it, okay? This stuff can be applied wet or dry. So I'm gonna do both sides, and then we're gonna move to the next area. So our next key area of rust is our spring tower bucket. Again, I've replaced mine, so that's why they look very new. But if yours aren't, you definitely wanna keep them from going west. So you can spray those as well. I'm not a big fan of spraying any of the chassis components because I pressure wash my chassis as soon as I can and regularly through the winter. So it would normally come off in a pressure washing. So that's up to you. Also want to note, this is the underside of the radiator support. That's where the bolt is. I've also sprayed that. Other places is kind of along this part of the radiator support. As you can see, little surface rust. I'll get that as well. And we will move on to our next area. So the next area that you can spray, generally speaking, and the largest, is your frame. And you can spray your entire frame. Now, like I said, I like to pressure wash and get everything clean, which means you'd have to keep reapplying the lanolin oil every single time, which I am not a big fan of doing. But let's just say you want to do some key areas. Well, you can definitely do your body mounts for your truck. You can definitely do your radius arm support there as well, the bracket. You can also do your brackets for your leaf springs. Again, I've been very diligent about battling rust, and so all those components have been replaced, which is why they look pretty good. And like I said, I pressure wash the chassis. So moving on, the other place you can do is the underside of your truck. So as you can see, I have a little surface rust here. So, you know, that's a place you want to hit some of that, you know. And underneath these trucks, what typically happens is you rust out your sills. Now, I've, again, been very diligent. I've replaced all the sills, and that's why they look really new. But that does not mean they're immune. And as you can see, there's just a little bit of rust poking through here and there through the undercoat and layers of paint. So I'm definitely going to hit all of that, get it nice and coated on both sides, and then we'll keep moving back. So we're back here looking at the inside of your rear fender. Yes, the place that always rusts out on just about every truck known to man. Now mine looks a little different because it doesn't have this fender support piece, inner fender as they call it, that goes from here, from the wheel well, out to the very lip here and attaches. And I did that because, well, as you can see, that's normally where stuff collects and rusts out the fender. And I'm 2 years on this type of fender repair I have, and it still looks excellent. But for you guys, you're definitely going to spray that area, spray up in here, because you don't want the rust, especially if you have factory original fenders. Now, this is a good time, now that we're back here, to kind of just look at everything. The underside of your cab and your bed is a big area that you want to look for and selectively spray. As you can see, I have some spot rust here and there. You can see some of the bed support here has some rust. And then some of the frame sections back here, it's not the side ones, just because, like I said, I'm able to spray these, so they look really good. But what will get you is these inner ones. Look how scaly that one looks there, as well as this one here for the fuel tank. Speaking of the fuel tank or tanks, another thing that rusts on these are the straps. And as you can see, I wire wheeled and painted these, so they've actually lasted a little bit better than some others. But that's a key area that goes. If you have a steel tank, this is a steel tank that I undercoated, you definitely want to spray the tank, especially around the edges, because these will rust and develop a hole. Now, I also have a plastic tank there, so, you know, I don't have to spray that. And then, like I said, any other key areas, more frame sections, bolts that you want to keep lubricated, parts of the bed up in there, just spray some of that. So one other area that I forgot to mention is your shock mounts, particularly your upper shock mount. They have a tendency to rust and fall off as well, so definitely be sure to hit that one. They're on the inside, so no matter of pressure washing, you know, I'm talking about a hand pressure wash from the outside is going to reach that, so definitely take the time to get that as well. It also helps to get the inside bolt of your leaf spring hangers, because that also is kind of out of the way from a pressure washer. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's a very simple process. You're just going underneath your truck and you're going to those key rust areas. So just to kind of recap, your spring towers, your leaf spring hangers, your shock mounts, they're suspension parts that will rust and they will come off. They can be replaced, but you know, it's another thing you can avoid if you take the time. And then as far as rust on body panels, that's your cab corners, that's your radiator supports, and that's your rear fenders. And there's a few other miscellaneous areas that you can kind of hit, like sometimes the inside of the fender here rusts. Another area that's popular rust is this back section here along the bed. So those are other areas that you consider to spray. Now, if you really want to do the full slam bang dunk kind of job, you just go underneath your truck and you spray the entire underside in this stuff. Frame, panels, everything. You just coat it. And you pretty much will get everything that you set out to do. Now, the cool thing about the fluid film is it can be put on wet or it can be put on dry, and it kind of reseals itself. The trouble with undercoat is it puts a layer over top of your steel, and if something gets behind it, it will rust. And next thing you know, you got a huge bubble, and the rust is on the inside is way worse than it looked from the outside. Paint, obviously, paint will chip. But the nice thing about this stuff is you get a whole bunch of cans of it. And as we talked, I went around and I sprayed everything. All those key areas I pointed out, one can actually did all of those. So if I really wanted to go to town, obviously the 6-pack I bought should probably do the job. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope this gets you prepped for the winter. Obviously there's probably more places on here you can spray that I didn't show, and some of you may have your pet peeves of where you guys normally like to spray to prevent rust. So if you have any of those, share them down in the comments. I'd be happy to hear them, and of course a lot of other people can read them and they can glean some of your knowledge for when they go and try to prep their truck for the winter. So that's all for me, guys. Hit the subscribe icon over here. Check out some of the other videos. I'm Stevie from the Minimasters. Thanks for watching.